Hi guys, this is Twin Peaks Twin Perspective. I'm Joe.
I'm James.
And tonight we're going to be presenting thoughts we thought you didn't think of. For episode 15, there's some fear in letting go. For Twin Peaks The Return. Full spoilers on everything Twin Peaks. So we've been on a little bit of social media, watching the videos, reading the Facebook.
The face place.
Yeah. And I don't know. Some of what people are saying is pretty cool. Some of it's just baloney. He doesn't stand for baloney.
He doesn't stand for baloney, you know. What the fuck was that on?
Weird science.
Oh.
Okay, so
Weird.
So let's start off. I guess we're going to try to take it chronologically. We open up with...
You said chronologically in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I know. We're going against the grade here. Nadine and Ed have their scene, which ends up with Ed and Norma. So, the gold shovel.
Now they're going to get run over walking out of the Justice of the Peace.
There was a weird scene when Nadine was walking. You can see a car pulling out onto the road, and then when the camera flips back and you see Nadine walking, all the cars are driving on the other side of the road. They're like on the other side. So the car that actually pulled out would have crashed right into those other cars. But I don't know why. You know, I figured they were just moving over so they could pass Nadine without worrying about running her over or something.
No, I've worked on enough movie sets where they're like, there'll be two cars passing, be wary of the actor.
Right. So
moving them on the other side might have been, yeah, why not?
it's weird. It's weird. I don't understand why Lynch does stuff like that. I guess maybe he's trying to give us some subliminal message.
This show ain't going to be nominated for Best Editing.
You don't think so?
No. It's just too uneven. It's just a Hawk looking for the diary pages with the crowbar, and then he doesn't have the crowbar, and then the next shot he's got the crowbar again.
Right.
It's just, you know.
The extras in the cafe, that everyone swears that that's intentional. So
I hope so.
if they don't really describe it any further, then you have to put your own imagination into it, give it its own meaning, and the people that are going to nominate for editing awards probably is not going to get it. They're probably just going to see a continuity error. Don't submit that episode.
Yeah. For your...
Actually, I don't know if we're going to do this once the show's completely over or if we'll do it in the next couple of weeks, but we're going to make our awards predictions for what we think Twin Peaks The Return is going to get nominated for. And it'll be Emmys, Golden Globes, whatever. We're not going to focus on that, but we are going to do some predictions. That's going to be in another video.
Some prediction.
So, with Nadine, the shovel is gold. And we know that there's references to gold everywhere now, so
Go!
I think that some of you guys that are reviewing ought to start giving Dr. Amp his props.
That's right.
And this simple golden shovel prop, I think it's served a greater purpose than we all thought it would already.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has inspired Nadine to admit what she's been doing in this relationship with Ed. And she's happier because of it, and now Ed's happier, and now Norma's happier, and it's all thanks to Dr. Amp.
That's right.
And the gold shovel.
And Walter will be happier in the end because he's probably a closet gay, so he just needs to come out.
He gets all the profits now from the franchises instead of having to split profits with Norma, so he's going to be better off in the end, too.
Making crappy pies the whole time.
Besides, Norma's in love with Big Ed, so Walter would have had a crappy relationship with Norma anyway.
That's her family.
So I want to talk about Norma too. They say Walter says, "I didn't think you had a family," and Norma says, "No, I have a family, and I want to spend my time taking care of them." So a lot of people were thinking about the secret history of Twin Peaks and how Norma's family's written in different. No mention of Annie. And that her mother's dead, but in the series her mother was a food critic and they didn't get along. And of course Annie's real in the series, but no one's mentioned Annie. So what we got to think about is what's the reality here for Norma. I think she has a mother who's a food critic, and she's estranged from her. They don't talk, and this is 25 years later, so this character may have passed too. So her mother may be dead either way. And with Annie, she's not taking care of Annie. Annie doesn't live with her, so Norma can say, I don't have a family because there's no one at home to take care of. But now she knows Ed's coming, so she says, no, I have a family. It's Ed, it's Shelley, it's Becky, it's my customers.
Is Heidi?
Who's Heidi? Oh, yeah, Heidi. That's part of the family.
Yeah, it's family.
So is that what you think? Do you think Annie's real? Is there a reason why Norma... I think that's why Norma didn't mention Annie as part of her family. I mean, if Annie's okay, she's a grown adult living somewhere else.
In a monastery in Tibet.
Right. Or she's not okay, she's dead. Either way, Annie's not Norma's responsibility. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't give too much crude. Family is my restaurant.
Right.
The people here at home.
Mm-hmm.
Twin Peaks is my family. Take your 7 other restaurants and make your cheap pies. And she knew she wasn't ever going to get her way anyway with those restaurants. They weren't going to turn a profit, so she had to wash her hands from that. God, I wish everybody would do that when it comes to capitalism. Pay your employees what they deserve, and what you take home, that's what your business is worth.
Right.
Pay your employees first.
Right.
You don't think, oh, well, I need to make this budget now, and so I'm going to have to cut your hours, and no. And let's get imitation apples for the apple pie.
Yeah. Horrible fake ingredients. Well, that's another thing about the pies. That coffee shop outside of Lucky 7 called Simon's. I'm calling it Simon's. I don't know how you pronounce it. No one ever said that was Norma's Double R's pies. I mean, this got brought up because Peggy Lipton sent a tweet saying, you never know, the pie could be one of my pies. So people were talking about the damn good pie, that episode, and they were talking about how that should have snapped Cooper out, and then Peggy Lipton sent out this tweet saying, you never know, it could have been a Double R pie. And I think she was just poking fun at it. People were saying it was a damn good pie, and she was like, well, you never know. With David Lynch, you never know. This could be one of my pies. I don't think this was an indication that her franchise is actually selling pies to other franchises across the globe, No, I didn't get that at all. I understand the difference in the pies. If you go to a Norma's Double R, you're not going to get her classic pie. You're going to get all shitty ingredients in the pie.
Damn good pie, not damn good pie.
Right. And I think Simon's is just another pie. It's a damn good pie, but that's not even Norma's Double R pie. So I don't know where that came from, but
it's not made the same. It's definitely wasn't sent from Twin Peaks to Simon's. It was probably from another restaurant where they don't make them as good, even though they're good.
Yeah.
They're just not special. They're not miracle pie. They're not the miracle of Miriam. They're not
right.
The miracle that Miriam of living and still being alive, I guess. That was a cliffhanger too, by the way.
Right. I know.
We haven't seen her since someone walked into her room, shut the door, and started making her beep.
And we're the only reaction review recap of Twin Peaks: The Return that even mentioned that. There were sounds. Somebody walked into Miriam's hospital room, closed the door, and walked in, and then all of a sudden you get this fast beep, 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 beep. I thought for sure we were going to have some kind of... Now, we've got a lot of things hanging up in the air right now, like as far as that's concerned. This car that's stolen, we never got to figure out really what's the true facts in that, whether the farmer's Billy or not. And then you've got Sarah at the bar with this dead guy, and the cops were supposed to show up there. We haven't gotten a resolution of that yet. And but James gets locked up for being in a bar fight.
What do you think? You said this earlier.
About Sarah?
Yeah.
If Sarah gets implicated in this guy's death at the Elks Point number 9 bar.
Number 9?
If she gets implicated, then she's going to go to the Twin Peaks Sheriff Station and get locked up.
If anything, they're going to bring her in for questioning.
So there's Nida and Freddie and James. Chad and the drunk, and Sarah Palmer.
Chad's in 10. Freddie's in 8. James is in 7. So Sarah would get locked up in cell 9. She went to number 9 bar. It should be in cell number 9 with Naito and Freddie and the experiment and everybody.
Whatever's in Sarah, the experiment or the bug or whatever.
I bet Sarah sees the drunk.
I think Sarah was using the alcohol to suppress potential possession, and we saw her not only run out of alcohol but go to the store and then fail to buy it because of the episode she had, and now she's possessed. And all this imagery with the face coming off, all of that could represent Bob for all we know. I mean, there's something inside of Sarah. People are guessing these wild things like the bug and the experiment. You think it's the mother / experiment.
She got a party going on in there.
Right.
She got 2 or 3 people popping in and out.
Woodsman or something, right? You know, and also Bob, who I don't think is in Mr. C. I think Bob came to Twin Peaks after he got out of Mr. C in part 8.
Possibly.
So we'll see, but that's going to be interesting. I would love to see the cops show up, take care of this situation with Sarah Palmer, and then actually have her get to the Twin Peaks Sheriff Station.
Yeah. I want to see a showdown in her house, but right now it looks like some stuff going down in the clink.
In the clink. I'm going to mention real quick about Gersten Hayward. She had a red ring on her right hand, and she had a turquoise ring on her left hand, and she had a key that was on a chain that she was wearing. And I want to mention that. I don't know if it's going to amount to anything or not, but there it is.
My second viewing, I fast forwarded through that scene up until Mark Frost walked up with the dog, and then just realized the sounds was like I rewound it and stomached through the
scene and the dialogue,
scene, which was just, you know, almost makes this not a perfect episode, except the music is so great. The music in it is Brand New Piece by
the Thought Gang.
The Thought Gang.
Probably. And
Lynch
sounds mixed in with the music.
Ah, it's good. Can't wait to get the soundtrack so I don't have to watch Steven snotting all over himself to listen to the song. But it is really great song.
That was the worst scene in the whole episode to me, but it was still made captivating by, in my opinion, the sounds, the music, and the fact that they were in this ominous woods. So yeah, it made up for the snotting.
And
Jesus.
Then
spitting.
Mark Frost said in that trailer right there. Then they show the trailer. This is Cyril Pons reporting for Twin Peaks.
Eyewitness News.
News at 11.
It's true. Cyril was doing some reporting.
Still.
So
he might be retired, but he's still got envie for it.
So does Carl Rod go to the trailer first, try to warn Becky? Or does he go look for the scene?
I think I would go knock on the door first, and then if no one answered, then maybe go investigate. If he knocks on the door and the door is open,
right,
then
he's got to want to protect Becky at this moment. This Cyril Pons said, "I saw a guy out there with a gun. He shot the gun, and then he lives in this trailer right here." That's what I'm assuming.
I just know he had a girl with him.
Yeah, so. If Carl Rod knows the situation, he's got to go and try to protect Becky first. Becky, you need to leave because your boyfriend's got a gun. And Becky, you need to leave because if you see him with this other girl, you're going to go off and try to shoot him too or something.
Already good thing she's Becky, so runs straight out to the woods to make sure Becky's okay.
So that's what I'm wondering. Is he going to go to the trailer? I would go to the trailer first.
Yeah. It's right. You're right there.
You're right there, Carl. Go to the trailer first.
Fuck, use your key.
Oh, and if Becky answers the door and she's fine, that's going to be such a relief. It's going to be a moment, and it's going to be a moment leading into, okay, you need to get out of here. It's hard to predict what Lynch is going to do. We may never even go back to the damn trailer. All right.
3 hours left.
Let's go to the convenience store scene with Mr. C. We were told Mr. C had coordinates, the coordinates that he got from Ray. These are the coordinates Ray got from Bill Hastings' secretary. Pretty secretary. We never got to see her. So this is the same coordinates Ruth had on her arm. So if Mr. C had anything to do with killing Ruth, he could have got the coordinates right then and there off her arm. So I got to throw that out real quick. But anyway, Mr. C has coordinates, and he knows he has to go to a place called the Dutchman's to find Philip Jeffries, and he said he knows what it is. He arrives at the convenience store, and that's where we're kind of confused, because I don't know, did he summon the convenience store? Did he know it was going to be there at a certain time? Because he says, I know what the Dutchman's is, and that's where he goes to find Philip Jeffries. He goes to the convenience store.
Yeah, but it disappears after.
But
so
he walks up the stairs, and then he's up in the room above the convenience store, which is the same room as the painting in Laura's room. And that's when he asks, he says, I want to see Philip Jeffries. I think he says, I need to see Philip Jeffries, but that's weird.
I don't need
anything.
I want.
Well, then why did you write it down like that? Okay, so is the Dutchman's the convenience store, or is the Dutchman's the room above the convenience store? Which I think it's probably that, because that's where he asked first. So it's, but I don't think it exists. That's what Ray said. The Dutchman's, but I don't think it's a real place. There is no physical room above the convenience store. It's only when you walk up the stairs that you're in the room. So anyway, that's where he asked for Philip first, in the room above the convenience store. So I'm going to assume the convenience store and the room above it is the Dutchman's. And I'm going to assume he knew where it was at because of whatever connection he's got to it. Either it was there before, or he can always sense where it's at, or something like that. Do you think he used the coordinates to find the convenience store?
That's the question I have. Is the coordinates to find the convenience store where it's going to be at a certain time, or the coordinates Twin Peaks? Because that's where he would be going now, right, with his coordinates.
Diane confirmed the coordinates on Ruth's arm,
even though she didn't send them to anyone. She just looked at them and found out herself. We never saw her text the coordinates to Mr. C, Philip Jeffries, or anybody.
Okay, but the coordinates were on Ruth's arm, and Diane got them, and it confirmed it was Twin Peaks.
Right.
The coordinates on Ruth's arm had to be the same coordinates that Ray got from the secretary, Bill's secretary.
Yes, that's where we're going.
Yeah, so Mr. C must be heading to Twin Peaks next with those coordinates, meaning that he knew how to find the Dutchman's.
With Richard in tow.
With his son in tow, and I believe he knows that's his kid.
And the actor who plays Richard, Eamon Farron, he's been doing a kick-ass job.
Absolutely great.
Everybody hates him. Mm-hmm. When you hear him talk, he's from Australia. You can't believe it's the same guy, his accent. It's like better than Andrew Garfield with an American accent.
Yeah. So we'll see how everything pans out toward the end and who gets starring roles in the next 3 hours.
He's going to get some good screen time here coming up and solidify his chances for a supporting actor Emmy.
I think that he's ahead of the pack as far as supporting actor is concerned. We've had some moments with Tom Sizemore. We've had moments with Jim Belushi.
Matthew Lillard.
And Matthew Lillard, of course. But I think, what's his name? Eamon?
E-A-M-O-N.
Eamon
Farron.
I think he's got to be on the top of the list at this point, and we're going to see what happens here in that couple of hours. What are we talking about next? The Jumping Man. By now, everybody's seen the images of Sarah Palmer in the Jumping Man. If you notice during the Jumping Man scene, there's a staircase in the background, which is either the staircase they eventually go to, Mr. C eventually gets to, the same one that Cole saw in the vortex, or it could be Sarah Palmer's staircase because they look so similar. But with the Jumping Man images, they hadn't gotten to the staircase yet, but in those images of the Jumping Man, you can see the staircase in the background, and we see Sarah Palmer's face. So that makes me think Sarah Palmer's house is going to have something to do with something here.
One of those shots looks like Ray Wise's face.
It does.
And one of those shots looks like David Bowie's face.
Mm-hmm.
And I see all three of them, actually. There's a frame-by-frame version of it on YouTube, just slow in it. And you get to pause it on the video. It looks so much. It's the one that's down at the bottom, and then it's here, and
But
and some of them look morphed, like all three
right,
of them.
but most prevalently was Sarah Palmer
Sarah.
for sure. And I don't know about the Jumping Man and his relation to anything. I don't know if this is a spirit jumping around from place to place.
And he was cranking he was turning the
when he
crank
was turning
and
the crank.
you know, like finding which room. I kind of think of Cabin in the Woods too, like, and it seemed like the faces were changing, almost like where is it lining up? So maybe that's what it is jumping jumping someone else's train, you know, jumping to a new timeline to find or whichever one Phillips was on.
I love that they brought him back though, because it's such a neat character. It's like we're never going to get a complete definition of him. That'll be one we'll talk about forever. The Jumping Man,
The Tin Machine. That's what the teapot. David Bowie, Tin Machine.
That's right. Tin Machine. That was one of Bowie's
Tin Machine
favorites.
teapot.
And I think that's why Lynch decided to make him a teapot, because it was basically a tin machine, and his love for Wizard of Oz, the Tin Man, and it did look like a percolator to me too. So you know, you got all that going on.
Stop looking at me, teapot.
So I think it's a great way to emulate Philip Jeffries. You know, very Lynch, strange, and
I could have done a better job with the accent.
well, you know.
Oh, now we're not going to talk about Judy. In fact, we're going to leave her out of it.
Who do you think this is there? Cut! Who do you think that is there? Sure, let's go with it.
Yeah, why not? Moving on.
No, but a lot of people did complain about David Bowie's southern accent. That was one of the biggest complaints when the movie came out. I remember people were saying, "Oh, I love David Bowie. Why is he talking like that?"
You never truly hear a real Cajun accent in movies because you wouldn't like the character.
Right.
Because nobody wants to fight. Hey, look at me. I'm the Gambit.
Man, if I'm gonna be talking like this and you ain't got nothing to say about it, then
I'm the Gambit. I throw some cards at you. Me.
Misha, well,
My God. Nobody wants that.
yeah, you gotta put that guy in a horror movie and kill him off in the first 5 minutes.
Machete 4. Did I have anything written down for that? No, that was it. Jumping Man, Tin Machine, Teapot number 8. I've been taking some good notes this week.
But I do also want to mention with Dr. Amp's Gold Shovel, we also have the song that was played in the conference room at the sheriff's station after Hawk said that Margaret had passed away. The song was actually from the same scene as the boy getting run over, when he's laying there and his spirit lifts out of his body, and the spirit was shown as being gold. So
Past the electrical wire.
and then Margaret said her log was turning gold. So there, and then at 253 yards east of Jack Rabbit's palace, it seemed like the liquid inside that hole in the ground was gold. So gold's been, and then the lower ball was gold. So gold's been associated to nothing but positivity, and you feel like the kid, when he died, his spirit ascended to a good place, a better place. Some people say it went in the electrical lines. It looked like it went past the electrical lines to me.
Me
But-
too. Me too.
So anyway, gold.
I got Margaret and the
Gold is
fireman. I got Margaret and the fireman written down. Well, first of all, strike me down and I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine, is what I thought. Now, the White Lodge has recruited major player, or players even. But now you look at the fireman, the log lady's husband was a fireman, and I always thought Jurgen Prochnow was the log lady's husband, because why would you have that popular of an actor or famous of an actor in one stupid scene in Fire Walk with Me as a woodsman with the beard? But now I'm starting to think the giant was her husband. I mean, I'd go back and look and see if they ever had a picture or posted a picture of the log lady in Secret History of her husband, and they don't. They just mention him. You know, maybe I have to go back and... Yeah. It looks like it wants to start on its own.
We've got a hurricane heading towards the Gulf right now, so we're getting this video down and posting it, and then we'll probably be without lights for a day or two, and this weekend we'll see. Yeah.
So yeah, what about that, huh? And Catherine Coulson has passed on. Confirmation the log lady passed away this episode. Doesn't mean we're not going to see her again. I don't know that they would have shot something. I mean, she would probably look more like maybe an older picture of herself. Like when you pass away and you see a ghost, maybe they look like they did when they were healthy. And we might get a I think we'll still see the log lady in the next 3 episodes.
We may see a funeral.
Yeah. We could see a double wedding.
Yeah, people are talking about the double wedding. If Nadine decides to hitch Dr. Amp / Jacoby, and have Ed, Norma, and Nadine and Dr. Amp, that wedding would be electrified.
Well, one of the original series of Twin Peaks, there's Ed and Norma and Nadine, all 3 in bed together, which was strange. But
Yeah.
so I totally see Dr. Amp and Nadine in a pillow talk scene together.
And what about Shelley and Bobby? Does Shelley have one final scene here with Red? I mean, that was a big tease for us not to get some sort of fan service response. You mentioned in our recap that Shelley should tell Red to kiss those puppies goodbye and go find Bobby. So I hope we get some resolution to that. I hope Becky and Dad, God, I would probably bring them back together again, Bobby and Shelley.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll split them up even further. Yeah, I want to see some resolution on Bobby. So you were talking about the giant, and we have to remember the fireman / giant. We have to remember his words at the beginning when he tells Agent Cooper that to listen to the sounds, which those sounds we haven't heard yet in the series. Some people think they have, but I don't think we've heard them yet. He says, remember 430, Richard and Linda, 2 birds with 1 stone. And he had said before, it is in our house now, which makes me think once Mr. C arrives at this spot on Blue Pine Mountain, that he'll be able to cross over, then he'll actually be in their house now, something like that. Or it could be talking about whatever's inhabiting Sarah Palmer. It's in our house now. Well, we do have to remember the fireman's first words. I think we're going to see that scene again in the next 3 hours, where Coop's going to actually live that part.
Because he didn't have his pin.
Right. He's going to get back in there and hit his pin. Or he's going to, I don't know. But I think it hadn't happened yet, yeah.
Yeah, he had his pin when he was there before. Just didn't have it in that scene.
And the giant said, you are far away now. And then Coop zapped out. Maybe this electrical shock. Maybe that's the flash that Dougie has. He'll see the giant. And then he'll come back to Dougie and maybe be back to Cooper. We gotta get back to Las Vegas. I hope we don't go a whole episode without Dougie this next hour. That would be painful. That'd be a painful way to treat the fans in the last 3 hours.
One more troll.
Right. We're not done. We're gonna open up with the 10-minute extended version of Just You by James Hurley. They're gonna give him a guitar so he can sing while he's in the clink. So Linda, Linda. We have to meet Linda. This has to happen. Linda. So we have to watch out for that. I think that's going to happen here. We got Carl Rod in the Fat Trout Trailer Park. He's on the case now, so we'll probably get another scene there, and then possibly Linda will pop up.
Mark Frost, you need to write Cyril Pons an original OG Bookhouse boy, man. You need to write it up like you and Carl Rod were the starters,
Right.
He was a TV reporter. He could have,
And the log lady, the original Bookhouse girl.
OG. The Bookhouse log.
Yeah, actually, Cyril Pons could be interviewing people at the trailer park, right? And that's when we get our first glance of Linda. She'll be answering a question. It'll be Annie in a wheelchair answering a question. Yes, so Blue Pine Mountain. The log lady said, watch out for the one under the moon on Blue Pine Mountain. So that's definitely the mother experiment figure, because it's depicted that way in Briggs' evidence. It's under the moon above Blue Pine Mountain. And they did go to Blue Pine Mountain to find this spot east of Jack Rabbit's palace, because they confirmed Blue Pine Mountain was the sacred mountain, and that was where the listening post was at, and that's where Jack Rabbit's palace was at. I don't know if Mr. C, if the coordinates are going to lead to this or not. I don't know if anybody's got to actually go physically back to Blue Pine Mountain to the spot again at 2:53 on October 2nd. But that's something we might get here in the next hour or two, to revisit the Blue Pine Mountain. But I'm positive the log lady was talking about the mother / experiment / ace card. So,
Christopher.
don't know if you have to go back physically to the mountain to confront it. If it's in Sarah, you ain't gonna have to leave the sheriff's department. She might be coming to you.
Got to cock block evil Coop from getting in. That might be a reason to go there. Coop wouldn't want to go into Glastonbury Grove. I mean, he doesn't want to go back. He doesn't want to go back there. So getting these coordinates is infiltrating a place that evil doesn't belong. So we'll have to get in front with the shovels and stop them.
Some people say the coordinates could lead to Sarah Palmer's house, which is weird.
Yeah, I kind of thought that though. Yeah, you can't help but stop your mind. You wake up and it's like, geez, did I really?
FBI spent enough time there, you know, the police station's been there enough times for this to be the coordinates. It'd be wild.
The only thing I got written down left, well, no, a couple things, but
I expect to see, okay, yeah, let's, what you want to talk about first. We got to figure out who Judy is. Can we do that in the next minute?
I put Judy as Diane.
Okay, I'm leaning
Judy's
towards...
working for Philip Jeffries. Mm-hmm. She's the one that's been receiving and sending texts.
Yep.
Or Diane is. And
when Philip Jeffries is in Buenos Aires asking if a message was left by Judy, some people figured Judy may be there physically in Buenos Aires at that time, and then all of a sudden Jeffries ends up at the FBI headquarters and it's in the past. And we get the impression Diane is probably physically there at the FBI headquarters at the time of this visit. So some people are saying, well, it can't be Judy because she was in Buenos Aires, and how could she be? Well, he traveled to the past. So I'm leaning towards Judy is Diane. That's what I'm going with right now. It's got to be somebody that Cooper's already met, that Cooper already knows. The popular theory is Judy is a code name for Garland Briggs. Judy Garland Briggs. Everybody's got a little neat thing about that. Like they're swearing up and down that that's what it is. And it is an insinuation from Jeffries, because at first, like, you met with Major Briggs. That's the first thing Jeffries was like pissed about it. And then he says, well, you already met Judy. So, you know, could be a Garland Briggs.
Could be.
Or it could be Nido.
See, I always wanted Laura to be in Candy because I wanted Candy to mean more. Now it just seems like Candy was just another throwaway character. But
no, she's helped. She helped to a degree.
And now that James is in proximity to Naido, mm-hmm. I think that's Laura. I think that's where Laura is, in Naido.
Okay.
We get Sarah down there, evil Laura, or whatever the hell. There's going to be something going down. But I think I'm kind of holding on that this is going to be the Lost Highway thing. We're just going to look into that jail cell and it's going to be Cheryl Lee in a pink robe, sitting there.
And she'll be somebody totally different, like not even Laura. She'll be Laura's cousin or something with red hair. That could happen. So those are the potential Judys, either Garland Briggs, Naido, or Diane. And there was one thought I was entertaining, perhaps Chantal, because Chantal is killing a bunch of bad people who, if Judy, let's say Judy's an agent of the FBI, a secret agent of the FBI, she'd be killing these people anyway. Maybe she's like a hired assassin for the FBI.
Government does it all the time.
Right. So, but then Chantal's got such a personality, it would seem like, I don't know, it's kind of a southern accent, just like Jeffries, right?
Yeah.
They could all be hanging around the same clique.
They're definitely learning how to speak English from the same rear.
They wouldn't use the word click, would they?
No.
I didn't learn what click was till I was like 10th grade. And it came slapping me in the face because I like to wear all black clothes, and we were known as the freak clique.
We were band nerds who decided to wear black.
Mm-hmm. We were freaks. But
band chicks are freaks.
Most people from down the bayou would call us anarchy Satan worshippers. Something like that, right? Anarchy Satan worshippers.
You get accused of dancing around a cemetery, you have to go out there with a jam box and buy a house and dance around one night. You just have to.
I mean,
you say we do.
If you've never been to a cemetery at night listening to Bauhaus, then you haven't lived. We never killed any cats. Good Lord, man.
Mice at the pet store.
We actually spent...
They wouldn't let us go in the pet store in the mall because they thought we were buying mice and using them for...
This wasn't just he and I. This was all of our friends.
Yeah.
These were
a big deal down here.
These were even friends of ours who were preppies that didn't even dress the way we did, but because guilty by association, right? So, yeah, none of us ever did. We spent 3 classes one day.
I couldn't roll my pants up like the preps did. You know, they rolled their blue jeans up in such a nice, perfect cup, and I couldn't get mine to do that. It looked stupid, so I didn't do it. So I wasn't buying the right pants, I guess. We didn't have the money.
We spent 3 hours one day, instead of being in our class, we spent 3 hours in the gym or in the auditorium talking to the principal, and our parents were there, and there were cops there. We spent a half a day at school once talking about how we shouldn't wear black clothes at school.
Why? Yeah. You can't wear your hair like Robert Smith. Meanwhile, the principal's daughter's got a bouffant, the 80s style bouffant that's got so much Aquanet next to it. If you were smoking a cigarette, you'd light the whole school on fire next to her. That's what our mother brought up.
Right.
And the principal couldn't argue it.
Right.
The girl that wore her hair like Robert Smith was using mousse. Not even hairspray. What did it for us, we all had above C averages. Mm-hmm. They couldn't do it. They couldn't touch us. Yeah. We're all good students. Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot of absences.
So out of that meeting, we were told we couldn't wear all black clothes anymore. So we started wearing white tube socks with our black shirts and black pants and black shoes and black makeup. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to mention was I hate the Roadhouse now. I can't stand it. Before, the Roadhouse was always where the youth would get together, and they were all bikers, and they would sit politely at a table and listen to the musical stylings of Julie Cruz. Now the Roadhouse has turned into this place where everybody's up and rowdy and dancing. There's no politeness to any of them anymore. I mean, a fight broke out at the Roadhouse in the original series, but this seems like a nightly occurrence now, with drugs and everything else going on. I mean, we got a hint of the seedy underbelly of the Roadhouse in Fire Walk With Me, but in the series, the Roadhouse was just not such a horrible place to go to. I just wanted to bring that up. I can't stand that the Roadhouse is so bad.
Overpopulated.
Yeah, too many people there.
Too many people making babies that can't afford themselves. Quit making babies.
Remember in the pilot, you had Joey and the other guy, and they ended up getting in the fight with Bobby and James, and Joey went to take Donna out. Okay, we didn't have a whole discussion at that table with those kids and figured out who Joey was and who the other guy was, and that's what we're doing in the Roadhouse now. We're actually visiting these characters they obviously probably live in Twin Peaks, but they're not relevant to the story. The only story these people at the Roadhouse in this series have been talking about, the only relevance it has is to Audrey.
Yeah, she was the eye candy back in 1990 for the pleasing.
Yeah, for the youth.
For the youth, and now all the youth in this season is sitting around a table talking about bullshit that doesn't mean anything, but Audrey's talking about that.
Right.
And I find a meta. There's something meta about that with David Lynch.
Audrey is dreaming about what these eye candy people
of today, because she came out. Sherilyn Fenn was like hated the fact that she was I mean, she used it when she had it, and then when she lost it, she started complaining about it. People just want young people nowadays. Well, you sure milked it when you were young.
Sherilyn Fenn's gorgeous, and she's a wonderful actress too. And,
so she changed her tune.
Yeah, I think that I think that Sherilyn Fenn could be doing a lot more in movies. I think she's interested in other things.
I could watch Grace
besides
Zabriskie
acting.
all day. Yeah, I could watch Grace all day.
Yeah.
I don't care that she's got lesbo titties.
Will you stop it? Titties.
That's what the trucker said.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so my two favorite actors are Ray Wise and Cheryl Lee of all time, and they are what powered Firewalk with Me. And I expect in the last 3 hours of the series a huge dose of Cheryl Lee and Ray Wise. Otherwise, personally, it'll affect me negatively. Okay, so I expect to see Cheryl Lee in this episode, and I expect to see Cheryl Lee, Ray Wise, Grace Zabriskie, and Kyle MacLachlan. This has to be at the forefront of the last 3 hours. It has to be. Come on, are we going to get Ray Wise sitting in a chair saying, thanks, and then that's it? You know? Come on.
I know IMDb's
So good.
not straight on, total episodes. In fact, it changes as people show up, and you've only seen certain people in 2 episodes. They've always had Ray Wise for 4 episodes, and we've only seen him in 1. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's been 4 all year long. So it's like,
I don't
I'm
put too much.
assuming we'll see him.
I don't put too much stock in IMDb, but
Yeah, you really can't.
that is interesting because there is 3 hours left, and I expect to see him. I mean, I think that Dougie shocking himself, that's gonna change the Dougie story for the better. I don't know if he's gonna be there and be taken to the hospital. I don't know if the FBI there is finally gonna figure shit out. I don't know if our heroes of the FBI finally got their asses out of South Dakota and are flying to Las Vegas as we speak. But something's got to come out of this, and this electrical shock makes me think we're going to see Cooper on the other side before we get a resolution as to what physical body's actually laying in the Joneses' residence. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's all we've got.
Yeah, I noticed. Dougie moved the salt shaker when he separated the shakers.
They were bell-shaped.
He moved it closer to the remote. That's it. A lot of people are like, he was messing. I'm thinking from his perspective, with the light shining for case files when he was filling out, that maybe it was something was drawing his attention to the remote control. But it's just kind of neat that it was like a little power station kind of salt shaker.
Mm-hmm. And 2 Twin Peaks. It's the duality of everything in Twin Peaks. So there's 2 of them there. He separates them. It's kind of like 2 mountains. But it's neat that he did set it next to the remote and then worked his way
Kind of drew his attention
to the TV,
remote.
to the outlet. So it's kind of like the lights from the case files.
The only other thing I wrote, Jane loves playing Susie Homemaker. Probably why Diane hates her. Because imagine your sister, that's all I want is to be married and raise a family and cook, bake out the ass.
Yeah.
Unless it's the same chocolate cake.
Yeah.
But
And Diane ain't got time for that. All she got time for is vodka and men.
yes, it's like
A stable of
you
them.
could have that. You could have that kind of life. Which doesn't say anything about, why is Jane there? How did she get hooked up with a guy that happens to end up being Cooper?
Mm-hmm.
We'll find all that out. But just from why Diane doesn't like Jane to begin with, that would probably be why.
Yeah, that's the conversation when they're in their 20s. Miss Susie Homemaker over here. She thinks she's better than I am.
Oh, you think you're better than me, Quantico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you went to the FBI. Okay. I would love to see a scene with Laura Dern and Naomi Watts in it. I mentioned that probably 6-7 weeks ago, and you were hoping that Naomi Watts would get a scene with whoever plays Jade.
My ultimate scene is for the FBI plane to just land in front of the casino and just say, everybody get on board.
Right.
Mitchum's bring him along.
No, the
Bushnell,
yeah,
come on.
yeah, the
There's Jade working the street. Get in
The
here.
Mitchums buy a private plane, and they're like, "We've got a plane. Where you want to go?"
And I want to see that conga party line on the fucking FBI plane.
Everybody, I want to see Bushnell Mullins in Twin Peaks. I want to see the Mitchums in Twin Peaks. Chantal and Hutch could be in the airport watching the plane fly. Shit, we gotta go to Twin Peaks.
Oh, damn it. Dying, well, I don't know if we got to stop at Wendy's first.
Yeah, I do want to see everyone converge.
I want to see a party plane scene, big time.
No, God, please let us have the Mitchum brothers for one more scene. Please. At least. So we are headed to a big epic showdown in Las Vegas for sure before Twin Peaks. I mean, we have to resolve this Dougie thing.
Something going on in our jail in Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
That almost seems to like take precedence over the coordinates.
Right, Dougie's in Las
house.
Vegas, and we're all focused on Twin Peaks now. They did a great job of that. We knew they would bring it all back to Twin Peaks, and they have. They did a great job of that. All right, so what do you want to do for Rancho Rosa predictions? It's been black and white for the last 2 weeks.
I'm going blue.
Blue is an excellent choice color of choice. I'm going with red again, red and black. We'll see. And our next episode is entitled No Knob, No Doorbell. Who's going to say that? Cheryl Lee.
I was going to say Laura Palmer, but you're right. Cheryl Lee.
I think Cheryl Lee.
Just don't know who the hell she's going to be.
Right. She could be the redheaded cousin that we've heard so much about from If There Would Have Been a Season 3.
Yeah, Cheryl Lee told us if there would have been a season 3, she was going to play a redheaded cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Another character.
Or she could be, like you said.
We could have had this character running around through this show. It just, I don't know where you put her, but it would just been nice.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
To have another Maddie, to have a Cheryl Lee.
In my opinion, if Cheryl Lee and Ray Wise would have been prominent in this series, they would have overshadowed everything that anybody else was doing.
That's true.
So that's why I'm hoping we get a big dose of them in the last 3. So that's it. You're going with blue, I'm going with red and black. And we both say a Cheryl Lee character is going to say no knob, no doorbell.
Swinging for the fences.
Yeah, sort of, unless you're Cameron. Spoiler central over there with that, but he's the only one I've ever heard talk about it, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Now I know about it. The other place quit talking about it for years.
And now you do too. Gifted in the Dam mentioned some YouTube commenters and supporters. That's Fit and Trim.
Fit and Trim on YouTube.
And they mentioned both of us. They mentioned me, and they mentioned Rosenfield 10. That was kind of cool. Out of all the names, they mentioned both of us. So we're giving them a shout out.
Yeah, they do okay. They've been a little weary the last couple episodes, but they were the ones I was watching to start with a lot until they didn't get it halfway through the season. They started complaining about things. They never rated the episodes good enough. So, but they're all right. Shout out to them.
Thanks for mentioning us. We mentioned you.
And that's it for thoughts we thought you didn't think of. Of course, if you go to Reddit, you'll see all of this and more. And Facebook has some interesting stuff too. So we might throw another video together this week about something else, but we're all looking towards Sunday. Twin Peaks: The Return, part 16. No knob, no doorbell.
Just walk on in.
So thanks for tuning in to Twin Peaks Twin Perspective. Please subscribe to Rosenfield 10. Click the notification bell so you can catch our videos. I am Joe.
I'm James.
And we will see you in the trees. Bye.